everybody, and welcome to Tatter-a-fact, Girlz Inc. Studio, Las Vegas. And today, I get back with me, Michon Shakes.
Hi, guys. She missed me so much, she had to have me on here again.
Yeah, like I don't get enough of you daily.
Lies.
But it's all lies. It's all lies. Yeah, so, well, the last couple, people like having you on here. People like you. Yeah, your podcasts are popular. Yeah, you're popular, Michon.
That's cool. Is it because I'm brutally honest?
You are brutally honest.
Because of my looks?
Yeah, and you're cute. Well, didn't you say last time I would date us? I
would date us.
So the last couple of podcasts is like I've had Kat on here. We've talked more like law of attraction, positivity, entrepreneurship, things like that. And I wanted to get back to talking PMU procedures. Mm-hmm. So, and yeah, you're perfect.
Shoot, let's do it.
Yeah. So I gathered a bunch of questions that have come in because you, me, Girlz Inc. in general, we get a ton of emails, messages, DMs, even phone calls with questions, a lot of different questions.
Day and night.
Day and night. So I jotted some down that we've gotten in the last week or two that I thought we would just shoot the shit about. Go back and forth and talk about. So I thought the first one we would talk about is bleeders. Let's talk about bleeders. Yeah, love bleeders, right?
No.
So, and a question came in she'd been getting a lot of bleeders lately, and I think she was fairly new. Mm-hmm. And how do you control the bleeding? And so I thought we would talk about that. And then we're going to segue into another whole topic about bleeding. But let's start with bleeders and how to control bleeding. I think the first line in defense, if you will, bleeding is your epinephrines.
It's secondary numbing.
Yeah, your secondary numbing, using a really good epinephrine. Epinephrine constricts the blood vessels and helps to control bleeding. But now, you've been doing PMU. Is it 8 years?
I think
7 years.
Almost 8 years.
Almost 8 years. So you know as well as I do, there are some people, no matter what you do, epinephrine, all the everything, all the precautions, all the steps we take to control bleeding. Some people just bleed and there's no controlling it.
I'm one of them.
You are one of them. And I was kind of shocked. I think some people are under the impression that bleeders, they're either, people on, vitamins or, these certain things that thin your blood. I know there was vitamins and supplements that can thin your blood.
Vitamin E can definitely thin your blood.
Vitamin E, or blood thinners, things like that.
Even dark vegetables, kale.
Yes, I do know that. So, but you don't necessarily have to be on supplements or vitamin E or be eating dark kale or dark green things or be on blood thinners in order to bleed. Sometimes people just bleed.
Yeah, it's just their skin. They're just juicy people.
And that's what we
call them.
That's
juicy.
what we call them. I know. That's what we write in our notes. Juicy. You were juicy. So and you never know. You never know until you poke that needle in their skin and you get going on how that skin's going to react.
Exactly.
And what it's going to do. I mean,
sometimes it changes throughout the brow.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes one brow will act completely different.
Oh, yeah. Totally different sides.
Than the other brow. The two sides can be completely different.
It's a new thing every day.
It's a new thing
every face.
Yeah. But that's one of the things that I love about PMU is it's never boring and there's always surprises. Not all the surprises are always pleasant. Mm-mm. Sometimes some of the surprises are super stressful.
I like the surprises when you think they're going to be bad and then they just tattoo like a dream.
And they tattoo like a dream. So let's talk about predicting. I used to try to predict. Like look at somebody and predict, right? Like, yeah, you're going to bleed. And then you lay them down, you start working and they don't bleed at all. Their skin is like great and they heal great. Or you look at somebody like, oh, good Lord, I know she's going to bleed. She's going to be probably 2 or 3 sessions and tattooed like a charm, healed, beautiful for a session. So the face can be deceiving.
Yes.
Right? Definitely there's signs to look for,
well, I mean,
indicators.
You thought my face was deceiving. You thought I was going to be a dream to tattoo. It was going to be the best. And then I'm over here just gushing blood.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a perfect example. I really did. I mean, I think maybe me and Amber arm wrestled for your face.
And then I was just like,
and then I'm all done and I'm like, Amber, you can totally fucking have her.
she does.
Yeah. Do you still bleed as much as you did with me that first time?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time.
Still the same. I still bleed with like all of my body tattoos.
You're
too.
like a gusher too.
So now that I get tattooed and I know that, I take oral arnica just for that reason, because I know I'm going to be juicy, whether it be blood, lymph, oil, anything. It's just going to happen.
So are you on, do you take vitamin E or any of these?
I don't take vitamin E. I don't take
you eat dark
Advil or Tylenol daily. I don't eat dark vegetables in the morning. Like, I don't do any of that.
You're just one of those people.
You're
one of those surprises.
Yeah, I'm a lucky one.
You're the lucky one. But so if we were going to advise like a newbie, somebody that's not used to bleeding, how to deal with bleeding, it would be first, make sure that you have a good epinephrine. But that doesn't really help or come into play until after the first pass. So during the first pass, if you have a really bad bleeder, it's like, there's a few things you can do. You can use pressure,
Pressure, definitely. Wiping constantly just to make sure your design's getting in.
Yeah, a lot of wiping. And try not to wipe rough.
Yeah.
But...
slow down your movements.
Yeah, slow down your movements. Sometimes, for me, when they're bleeding really, really, really bad, I don't necessarily try to get in a lot of pigment. I'll just kind of scoot across. I want to drop some pigment because I want my design to be there, but I'll just kind of scoot across so I can get that.
Just enough to get your shape in.
Just enough to get my shape in, and then I can get that secondary in, the epinephrine, and hopefully that works. And
sometimes it doesn't.
No, it doesn't, but usually it does.
Yes.
Usually it does work. It helps control bleeding. Sometimes it almost virtually eliminates it, I wouldn't say eliminate, but really gets it to where it's like, yeah, nice. And sometimes doesn't hardly work at all. And then everything in between.
Yeah. You just got to keep going.
You just got to keep going. It's just part of what we do sometimes. It's part of what we deal with. And it's not fun because as you're trying to put pigment in, it's blood
out.
And and usually if there's blood, there's lymph, there's other fluids with it, and it's just pushing your pigment right back out, and it's diluting the crap out of it.
Sometimes lymph is worse than it being bloody.
Yeah, no kidding. So that's my advice for trying to control bleeding. Yeah. Use pressure, wipe a lot, a good epinephrine. And sometimes you just got to deal with it. And I'm somebody, I don't know if you're like this in your room. I think you are. I think you're pretty open and transparent with your clients. But I tell them, okay, you're bleeding a lot. Sometimes it makes them nervous. And I'll say, don't worry about it. It's just normal for some people. But I want them to know that they're bleeding a lot. And I'm struggling because that could mean they might not heal with a lot of good color.
I tell them everything because that means you might not have as much pigment. You might heal with nothing.
Yeah.
Because your skin is, after you were done here, I've got that thing in there, but it's still pushing it out as you leave because you're still bleeding.
Yeah. So that's why, we don't have our clients put on aftercare for 24 hours.
24 hours. They are constantly dabbing their eyebrows every 15 to 20 minutes because we want to get all those juices off, the blood, the lymph, the oil, all of it. So it's not just sitting on top of there.
Yeah, exactly. And especially if they're like prolific oozers, right? And when they leave, I mean, they're going to be like you. I mean, some people,
blah, blah, all the time.
You're weeping fluids. There's a ton of fluids coming to the surface for a few hours, sometimes a day. And I just want it to weep, come to the surface, have my client blot it off. Weep and blot. I mean, and it makes no sense to put ointment on because then all those body fluids, they get mixed up with the ointment. It gets crusty, and it's just so much better just to let them ooze and blot for 24 hours and then have them start their aftercare, their ointment, their balm, or whatever.
Plus, that should help you get better retention anyways.
Yeah, it does help with better retention. Yeah. I mean, it's important to keep those weeping fluids blotted off. I always tell the client, I just did my job. Now I need you to do your job, you know.
Oh yeah. I give tests to my client afterwards. I explain things. I'm like, all right, we got a test now to see if you were actually paying attention to what I said.
Yeah. Cause sometimes they're not.
They definitely aren't.
And I always tell them, I'll know.
Oh yeah. If you do anything you're not supposed to, don't think that we won't know. Cause we will.
We will. Cause we know.
And I'll call you out on it.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what Mary does? Mary follows them on Mary Richardson.
Oh yeah, we stalk you too.
Yeah, Mary does. She really stalks her clients on Instagram, and she'll take a screenshot of them at the pool or the beach, and she'll send it to them with a message scolding them.
I won't scold them, but when I see them at their touch up, I'll ask them like, "Oh, did you follow aftercare? Because I see that some things are not, okay." Yeah, I followed aftercare, and be like, "Oh yeah, what about this?"
Yeah, right. Yeah,
it's what's this?
Yeah, right. Okay, so the second part of bleeding is a question we got. She saw this stated on Facebook somewhere. So someone posted that if you get bleeding or more than just superficial pinprick bleeding, then you are going too deep, you're overworking the skin, and you need to go back to training. False, right? So someone fairly new in the industry saw this comment, and she reached out to us and wanted to know if this was true. And of course, we're like, absolutely not true. That's misinformation. And I wanted to talk about that today. Mm-hmm. So I don't know where that came from, where that thought process came from. I don't know why.
I think it's with people microbleeding.
That could be.
I think it's with microbladers because, I mean, yeah, you want to see a little bit of blood, but you don't want to see a lot.
With microblading.
Yeah, with microblading.
Right.
But with us, there could be blood all over the place.
But
that's
this
fine.
was a general statement, and I'm wondering if microbladers that cross over into machine work, because there's a ton of them now crossing over to machine work, if they're carrying that same philosophy about bleeding into machine work.
And that's probably why so many microblade artists are having problems with their retention.
Right. So
once they go to the other one, go to us, go to a powder brow or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, go to machine. And there is a trend in the industry right now, of promoting no bleeding, pinprick bleeding, tattooing. Superficially is the word I see.
Doesn't feel
shallow.
Like anything.
Yeah, shallow. I've seen people, big trainers, posting, my client can fall asleep during a lip procedure. Are you out of your freaking mind?
I've had one client fall asleep on our lip procedure, and I was
Did she come in like on Xanax or something?
I honestly think she was on some stuff.
Yeah.
But like I've only had one client fall asleep on a lip, and that was after all the numbing and everything, secondary everything.
I don't know, it's like or they'll make these claims that their clients feel nothing, and I just don't buy that.
I'm sorry,
it doesn't sound realistic to me.
Anything the first pass, I don't know what you're doing, but I don't think it's right.
Yeah, it just not that you can't get clients here and there that are super comfortable, and they feel very little discomfort.
Well, I mean, someone like me, I have a very high pain tolerance and I still feel that. I mean, it's not horrible. It's more annoying than anything, but it's not.
Yeah.
I'm not going to die from it.
No, you're not going to. No, it's not that bad. And for some people are super sensitive and have very low pain tolerance and they're going to feel more. There's some people that don't anesthetize well.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they just don't anesthetize even with their dentist. And so you have that as well. So there's people going to feel, they're going to be super comfortable. Discomfort levels are going to be very low. They're going to do very, very well. Then you have people on the flip side, don't anesthetize well. They're hypersensitive to pain and it's going to really hurt them. And then everything in between. But thinking, I just don't want newbies to think, and this is for machine work.
Yes.
Because I know microblading's different, but for machine work, I don't want you to buy into the myth that if you see more than pinprick bleeding, you're doing something wrong. You're going too deep. You're overworking the skin and you need to go back to school, go back to training, because that is a fault. I have tattooed over 20,000 procedures. I stopped counting 4 or 5 years ago, about 5 years ago. And that's just PMU. That's not body tattooing.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of body tattooing as well. And, if you're going proper depth,
some people are going to bleed.
Some people bleed. They just do. Some people bleed moderately. Some people bleed a lot. And yes, you do get some people that don't bleed that much at all. So it just all really depends on the client.
Their skin
and,
their ethnicity.
Yeah. I mean, things like that. I mean, for sure. And so, because that could be discouraging for someone out there, and they're doing clients and they're getting bleeding. And then they see a statement like that could be really discouraging, you know, and they could think they're doing something wrong and they're hurting skin and it scares them. And
well, especially if they're going so shallow that you're barely seeing a pinprick of blood. What's the longevity of that? How long is that going to last?
It's not going to last.
Exactly.
And I guarantee you, Michon, if you ask 100 clients, especially when it comes to eyeliner and lips, do you want to go back once a year or once, and have that refresh? Or are you going to be happier going every 3 to 5 years? They're going to say
always the 3 to 5 years.
The 3 to 5 years. That's exactly right.
You don't want to come back every year.
No client wants to go back every 10 months, every year. They just do not, especially with eyeliner and lips. And I do think that applies to eyebrows. Here at Girlz Inc., our work, the way we work, our techniques, going proper depth, which is that upper dermal layer, our clients get 2 to 4 years on average out of their eyebrows. 2 years is kind of more the minimum. We see longer than that a lot of times.
I had an ombre come back. She's a client of mine from Germany, and she comes back every 2-3 years to get them touched up. And she came back, and I was just in awe of what I saw. I was like, you didn't even have a touch up, and they still look really good.
Yeah, yeah, because you're saturating the skin enough with pigment, and you're going proper depth. And there's a real big disadvantage to the client tattooing someone that often in the same area, and that's scar tissue.
Yeah, scar tissue, and it's harder to get more pigment in there.
That's
when you
right.
have so much scar tissue there.
That's exactly right. And it needs to be about the client. It needs to be about the client.
I always talk to my client about that. I'm like, I'm not here to take your money. I'm here to help you. I'm here for you to get longevity out of things.
Yeah.
I don't want you to come back every 6 months or every year because I want the money. I want you to last because that's what my name means.
Yeah. And I think there are some people that their work is only lasting a year or so because they're not going proper depth and they're not saturating enough. And then there's another set of people that they want them coming back that often because they want that refresh money. And I've seen them actually say that. I had someone ask me on a Facebook post 2 or 3 years ago, then how do you expect us to make money if our eyebrows are lasting 3 or 4 years? And my answer was very simple. It was, Girlz Inc. has developed the reputation in Vegas that our eyebrows last. They do not turn color, and they last a reasonable amount of time. And that's what the client wants. How many clients have we had in here, Michon? Hundreds and hundreds that are sick and tired, have to go back every once a year.
That's where
they don't want to do that
my
anymore.
Clients, because they've been to other artists and they're like, I go in and they just can't get the pigment in, or it just doesn't last, or I've done this so many times and it just never stays. And,
right.
Us, we're known for our packing skills. And I'm like, if I can't get it in, nobody's getting it in.
That's right. And I think people think because we're able to pack it in, our eyebrows look like stickers, and they look harsh.
When they're first leaving, yeah.
Yeah, freshly done, they look like stickers, and they can look
scary.
They can look a little scary and too packed. By healed, they are stunning.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. And I think it's the flip side with the superficial work and, and some of the ombres, not all of them, of course, but, they look better fresh and they don't look as good healed. And clients want the opposite. They're okay with dealing with an eyebrow that looks harsh and kind of solid for a week. They don't love it, but they deal with it because that healed version is so dang beautiful. And we don't do a lot of touch-up work, and it lasts, 2 to 3 to 4 years. And that's I always say a reasonable amount of time. I don't want my work lasting too long, because the face changes. And I think, but I know anything that sits in skin long enough, it will start to ash out. It will start to change a little bit. And that's not a bad thing. We don't see extreme changes with LI pigments, but just like industrial car paint, even that can, fade if it, sits out in the sun or whatnot.
Rusts.
Yeah. But we're living, breathing organisms, we're medicines, lifestyles, health. Anything that sits in our skin long enough, there's the chance that it could start to go a little ashy or start to turn towards the color of the undertone of that person.
Well, you also have to take into account, having an aesthetic background, your skin changes drastically about every 5 years. Mm-hmm. So, that could change how your pigment's in there too.
Oh, absolutely. And people don't, I think that some people just, really don't understand that. So although I want my brows to last a reasonable amount of time because that's what is best for the client, and it's best for our reputation here in Vegas. People come from Arizona, California, Utah, just because they want their brows to last. They're so tired of their brows not lasting. And they're way more sick and tired of their eyeliner and lips not lasting because that shit hurts.
Yeah.
Eyeliner's not fun, and if you're a client listening to this, it's not fun, but it's so worth to wake up with your eyeliner.
Worth it.
Yeah.
If you a little uncomfortable, like me, I don't like people touching my eyes. I'm definitely taking a Xanax.
Yeah, I know. And some people do. They'll ask me, can I get a Xanax or something, or a Valium or, something from my doctor. And I always tell them, yes, have that discussion with your doctor and arrange a driver, arrange a driver. And usually I find the people that don't do well with eyeliner are people, I was just talking to my client yesterday about this, people that they're maybe type A, right? Maybe they have a little ADD and, they're just super hyper and type A and they talk fast and move fast and think fast. They have a hard time chilling. That type of personality seems to struggle more with eyeliner than people that are like, is it type B personality or, can kind of chill out. They're not so high strung, I guess.
They're not always have to be in control of everything.
Yeah. And so I think your personality type also dictates how you're going to get through an eyeliner procedure.
I think eyeliner, again, also, I think it's more the anxiety of it, the anxiety of that needle being so close to your eye,
for sure,
than the pain. Because I ask a lot of my clients, I'm like, is it painful? They're like, well, yeah, but it's not. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
but it's more or less, I feel like you're going to tattoo my eyeball.
Yeah.
And I say, yeah, it feels like that. But you know what? I'm nowhere near anything important.
Yeah, exactly. But I know, I always tell my clients, and I know what you feel. I get my eyeliners done every 5 years, and you're exactly right. You feel that needle is going to go through the slit of your eye and get you. It's just that sensation. And of course it's not with a good artist. It's never, happened, with us. I've never even heard of it happening, to be quite honest with you. I've never heard of it happening.
I've heard of some shit.
Yeah, but not of a needle poking an eyeball. No, I've never heard of that.
The worst thing I've ever heard of is someone dropping their machine on a client's face.
Yes.
And it marked them.
And it made a dot.
Yeah.
I've heard of that. But eyeliner is safe, especially if you're going with somebody skilled and, really good at it. But yeah, back to this whole shallow thing. Why do you think it's a trend?
Because it looks good. It looks good right after. That's
why artists are choosing to tattoo shallow, because the right after looks good. But shouldn't it be about the healed?
It definitely should be about the healed. But I've noticed a lot lately that a lot of artists don't post healed photos. They're posting immediately afters, and that's it. And it looks phenomenal. I'm not gonna lie, but I want to see it a year from now.
Yeah,
I want to see it.
I want to see
it 6 months from now.
Well, that's what I say. I want to see a 3-month heal.
Yeah.
We post our healed work.
Yeah.
We're the opposite. We don't post our right afters a lot because they do look kind of too dark, too thick. I mean, too dark, too heavy, too saturated, like a sticker, and that could scare the public. But so that's why we don't post a lot of right afters. But we post a ton of healed, And you're right. On the flip side, the more shallow tattooing and, these ombres, you're seeing more of the right afters and not nearly as many or enough of the healed.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that's because they're not healing good. But you're right. You're right. And other people have brought that up too. Like you're just not, you're not seeing those healed. People aren't posting those. They're not posting them a lot, I guess. So I don't know. I think when you're, look, pigment is formulated to perform at its very best, right? In the epidermal layer at proper depth. So pigment's going to heal its best at proper depth. It's going to age its best at proper depth. So when you are tattooing pigment too deep, forget about it, right? Blue, grays, ash, it's horrible. You can damage skin. So for those reasons, I would rather see people be tattooing at first too shallow, and then slowly applying more pressure, reaching that proper depth in baby steps so they don't go too deep. But when you implant pigment too shallow, you're right, it can all fall out during the healing process. It can fade in 6-10 months prematurely, and it goes warm. Yep. It goes warm.
Super warm.
And that's a scientific fact right there about pigments. So, and a lot of times the pigment gets blamed, and
everything gets blamed, but the artist.
But the artist's technique.
It's the tool. It's the pigment. It's this.
I know. And depth. I'm telling you, I wish I could really express to artists how powerful depth is. Where you, me, and all artists, where we decide to put that pigment in the layer of the skin, the depth, where we place that pigment, that's
the sweet spot.
Yes, but that dictates and controls big time how that procedure is going to heal and age. It's so critical to the performance of that procedure and that pigment. And too deep, you're screwed. Too shallow, you're not screwed, but it just doesn't perform well. And you're going to see orange and pinks and reds and all that stuff.
All sorts of fun colors.
All sorts of fun colors. Yeah. And, you know, and if pigment's fading too soon, Michon, you know this, you create scar tissue every time you
tattoo.
Every time you tattoo. And if I tattooed your, like a circle on your forehead, right, with a dry needle, and it healed, it's going to heal pink.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take for that pink or that purpley pink to go away? I don't know.
It could be a couple of weeks, could be a couple of months, could be a couple of years, could be never.
That's right. That's exactly right. The skin ends up getting discolored when we tattoo it. Sometimes, you know, and everybody's discoloration is going to be a different tone depending on your ethnicity, your undertone, and whatnot. And as long as you have pigment covering it, that pigment acts like a wool blanket. It covers up that discoloration. But if that pigment's fading out of the skin too quickly, and that area hasn't gone back to normal skin tone, well, then you're going to see purpley. You're going to see pink. You're going to see those discolorations.
Yeah.
And I wish people would really understand that. I mean, I've been preaching that for 10 years, and that's science. That's fact, right? So, and that's a lot of times why you see discoloration is because, and that's another reason you want your brows to last a reasonable amount of time to allow that skin to fully heal.
Yeah.
To fully heal. So when it does start to fade, you don't see those discolorations, the undertone, you know, peeping through.
Yeah, usually if the eyebrows are changing funky colors like purple, greens, blues, all sorts of colors, it could be your pigment.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
But it's because you're not using a good pigment line.
Right. Good pigment lines, you should not see extremes.
No.
You know, with LI pigments, we do not see extremes.
Should always have a good pigment line that's formulated just for the face.
Yeah, just for the face with, because they're formulated differently. And and they put a lot of different yellows and certain colors in the base of the pigment to account for the vascular system, the undertones and everything that all the challenges the face brings us, you know, because the face is challenging when it comes to color and than the body. So
face is a weird beast.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. So yeah, I don't know about this whole shallow thing. I'm glad. I mean, I think when I learned 22 years ago, it was more heavy-handed.
Yeah.
I think it was more people were going a little heavy-handed, you know, and then we found that sweet spot and then now I just see a lot of people going way too shallow, way too super.
And I'm not sure why people are doing that. It's I think it's a fad. I think it's what's popular.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and if that's the way you work, that's the way you like to work. But
like you've been doing this for how many years?
It'll be 22 years this September.
Exactly. And having them come back so often, that's just it's more work for us and
it's damaging and it's damaging to the skin.
Yeah.
It just is. So I can tell you, me for certain, I don't want to do my brows once a year. Hell no, I can't even find time out of my schedule to do them every 3 years. I mean,
I'm still trying to get in.
I know. Okay. So we talked about that. So let's talk about eyeliner bruising. And you just posted this morning.
Yeah.
It was you came to me yesterday and you're like, I'm going to show you this picture. And I almost didn't see the bruising. I just saw a beautifully, perfectly, aesthetically done eyeliner. Your corner was right on the top edge.
Bit of eyeshadow.
Yeah, the top edge was precise. That's what I saw first. Like, what a beautiful eyeliner. And then I'm like, oh yeah, she got really red and bruised. But that's not what I saw first because we're so used to that because we tattoo a ton of eyeliners. And you were nervous about posting it. And I'm like,
yeah, us as artists, we always get a little bit of backlash for some things we do.
yeah, well, because here again, you have some technicians out there stating on social media, or mostly in these Facebook groups and teaching their students that with eyeliner, there should be no swelling, no bruising. And
It's just not reality.
it is so not reality at all. Then again, if you're using a really delicate single needle and you're tattooing superficially, then maybe you don't get as much swelling and maybe you won't get any bruising, but that eyeliner is not lasting.
Yeah.
It's not lasting.
And it heals like
It heals weird.
I like the Stardust eyeliners, but they do heal weird.
Yeah, they heal a little. They age.
Like
they
maroonish.
age weird. They heal maroonish.
Yeah.
You want to know why?
Because it's too shallow. It just
Yeah,
flickers off.
yeah. But I've seen probably at least 15 of these Stardust, Pixie Dust eyeliners. They've come in for removal, and I've had to tell them there's nothing to remove. It's not that it's pigment.
It's their skin damage.
It's skin damage. Yeah. And not really damaged because they went too deep or whatnot,
It's traumatized.
but it's traumatized. And the eyelids are vascular.
Yeah.
So just like we talked about the eyebrow, you discolor the skin when you break it open with anything, needles. If you get a scratch,
Yeah.
it heals red, pink, whatever. And of course, they're taking a single needle, they're breaking open the skin, and they're getting very little pigment, so it looks all that gray, stardusty. It looks beautiful, fresh. But yeah, I've seen multiple of them just not heal well. And again, I'm not bashing that technique or anybody that does it at all. I just wanted to talk
About how things heal.
how things
age.
heal and how things age. And I've seen a lot of them not age well at all. Like I said, we've had multiple people come in. I was actually in Chicago doing a removal class, and there was someone came in with something like that, and it was only a year. She had it done a year ago, and it was just all maroon. And I was like, it's not pigment. It's just skin. It's skin. It's just skin discoloration from the trauma. There's no pigment in there. There was very little pigment in there to begin with.
Yeah.
It fell out. It aged out of the skin rather quickly in a year, and now you have discoloration of the skin. And and I just told her over time, that very well may go away. But we have a lot of blood vessels, a lot of capillaries in our eyelids, and that's why you see the maroon. It gets really red, and that's why when you and I are doing eyeliners, your post yesterday, or this morning, I mean, and then go check it out on your Instagram. Beautifully done, beautifully executed eyeliner, but dang,
She's pretty.
she got swollen.
I told her, I was like, let your husband know you didn't get beat up. It was
Yeah,
just me.
yeah, and she's like red. And some people seeing that, some of these same people, are probably think, they're of the mindset you need to go back to training. That should never happen. And me and Amber talked about this like a year ago, on the podcast, but that's just not realistic. And I wish that wasn't being taught to the industry as a whole, because it's misinformation.
Well, and sometimes it's not even the tattooing itself. Sometimes I bruise people just with my stretch itself.
Yeah, some people can be that sensitive up in that area
Yeah.
that even stretching an eyelid, as much as we have to stretch it, that can cause some irritation.
Yeah, I always get bruised in the corner of mine because obviously I want someone that has a good stretch. I don't care if it hurts. Get it in.
Well, a good stretch makes it hurt less.
Yeah.
And you got to control the eyeball. You got to have a damn good stretch when you're tattooing eyeliner, because people want to blink, they want to move. You can't allow that. There's certain places we press our fingers to control blinking and to control the eyeball. Like my clients will always say, I feel like I'm blinking. And I'm like, oh, honey, you ain't blinking a wink.
You ain't even moving a little bit.
But they think they are, but
Yeah.
we know where to press to control the blinking.
Yeah.
And you can't be tattooing somebody when they're blinking. And that's what the eye wants to do, right? It wants to
Fight or
blink.
flight.
Yeah, exactly. But so, yeah, and we're using 5 shaders because we're doing most clients, they don't want to come back in a year. They don't want that shit falling out in a year. They had to work up a lot of nerve just to come the first time.
Yeah.
Eyeliner's not the most pleasant area to be tattooed. They want it to last. And a lot of people want black. They want black eyeliner. And those are the type of clients really seeking us out. So, I mean, we do some smoky stuff, and more natural looks too. I don't want people to misunderstand that, but so although we can do the smoky, I don't do the Stardust and the Pixley because I don't like how it personally, I don't like how it ages. And I don't like that it doesn't last, but we definitely do smoky. We have other ways of getting a smoky look and it lasting. But a lot of people seek us out because they know that we know how to get a black eyeliner that will last them 4, 5, 6 years, if not longer. I mean, you saw an eyeliner I did last week and it was 13 years old.
13 years.
And that shit was still there and that was still looking good. It wasn't blue, it wasn't gray. It was just, I mean, that was like looking good. Yeah. So, and that back then she wasn't ready for her eyebrow. And that is the reason she chose me.
Yeah. She came back. Longevity.
She was so happy with her eyeliner. And now, here I am 13 years later and I'm ready for some brows. So she chose me. So I don't think it's true that you miss out on money and you'll lose a lot of income if your work lasts. I don't think that's true. I think I think it's the opposite. I think you build a reputation that your work is stellar, your work lasts, and that reputation gets out and the clients seek you out for that reason.
Word of mouth is the strongest recommendation you can get, man.
Ain't that the truth? That's the truth. Yeah.
I have people, their clients are like, oh, I told all my friends about you. I told my family in different states. They're coming down and all that stuff.
Well, it's like body tattooing. I mean, look at the shit on your neck. Yeah. Not that it's shit, but if you had to go back once a year.
No.
I
still have another appointment and no, I'll wait.
I know, and so there is just some misinformation out there. That's all. And look, if you're listening to this and you're the type of artist, you want your clients coming back once a year and you want to tattoo shallow and that's you, that's okay. Because, do you, boo-boo. That's exactly right. Do you. Do you. But we are getting inundated with messages on, is that true? And there's just a lot of conversation now about, I was having this conversation with like Shay Daniels. So I think people now are starting to understand if you go too shallow, the work doesn't last, clients become very disappointed. And I think most artists, they do want their work to last a reasonable amount of time because that's the dang truth. Your clients become disappointed, I think. And no one wants to deal with a disappointed client. And I think most people want to do what makes their clients happy because that's your bread and butter.
Well, I mean, that's my goal, to make my clients happy.
Yeah. But we've had a lot of clients leave artists that are working superficially, that are, they're having to go back too often, even though the shape was good and they liked them. We're seeing a lot of people come to us because they want it to last longer.
I have clients come to me and tell me that their previous artist didn't use any numbing either. And I was like, why? Do they hate you?
Well, okay, so let's talk about that. So there's been some, posts about that there's this, I don't think it's a trend because who the hell wants to work without anesthetics? Not many people.
That sounds
and I think
horrible.
It's horrible. And the clients want you to use it. What's one of the first things almost
Are you going to numb me?
Yes. Almost all the clients.
Can you put extra numbing on me?
Yes.
Can I come in with numbing before?
Yeah. If they weren't extra before us, now they're extra. Yeah. Right? That new word, extra. Right? Yeah. I'm hip on the new lingo.
I think extra's a little old, but
it's a little old. I'm just getting caught up to extra. Yeah. So we have our clients being extra now.
I'll give you the tea.
Yeah. And if you forget, they'll remind you. Yesterday, my client was like, "Oh, I think you forgot to put numbing on that eyebrow."
Yeah, they always tell me. They're like, "Did you put numbing on?" I'm like, "I already got that.
I know,
Don't you worry about that."
Right. But I mean, come on, a bottle of numbing cream is like $30, $40. It will last you 2 weeks to a month, depending on how many procedures you do. It's not that expensive. And it makes the client comfortable. But, I saw someone, arguing out there that it affects retention, and I don't buy that. I disagree with that. Maybe on a rare occasion, something odd with someone's chemistry, especially if they're using a medical grade, they get it from their doctor.
I would say it would change maybe the skin chemistry if they were using medical grade.
Medical grade.
And you can buy medical grade online, where I've had clients, or I've had people tell me for body art, they come in already pre-numbed for their tattoo artist, and the tattoo artists, they don't like that because it changes the body chemistry on the body.
On the body, yeah.
So think about what it does to the face if you're using medical grade.
Yeah, and that's true, and that's a really good point. If it's medical grade, and we have had clients ask us, I've got numbing cream, I had something removed, or I've got some topical numbing cream, it's medical grade, or my nurses sometimes, can I have or injectors, they work with doctors. Can I come in pre-numbed? No. Big fat no. We don't allow anybody to walk in our studio with any pre-numbing. That's a liability.
Yeah, no, we do that.
Yeah, so no. Right off the bat, no. We will numb you with the allowed amount of anesthetic allowed to us under our license. You have to work within the scope of your license.
Yeah, I think it's
like 5%.
5% is okay. Anything higher than that is medical grade.
Yeah, and it's not okay for us to use. And when you get into those higher anesthetics, then yes, it can affect skin chemistry. And in that case, then the possibility of affecting pigment retention
definitely going to happen.
Can happen for sure. But I've been doing this 22 years, almost 22 years. September. I keep reminding you, so you throw me a party or something. Yeah, my PMU birthday.
Write it down, Olivia.
September.
I'm not gonna remind that at all.
It's your birthday month, like my PMU.
Our birthday month.
It's our we're Virgos.
No, you're a Virgo.
I'm a Virgo.
I'm a Libra.
Thank God I'm a Virgo. I know. Yeah, I have a lot of clients that say, "Thank God you're a Virgo." Virgos are perfectionists, but you are too.
Yeah, we're super anal.
Yeah, but my PMU birthday is also September. But anyway. I have just never, my retention on all procedures is on point.
Never been a problem.
Never been a problem.
Numbing has never been a problem.
Never, ever, ever been a problem.
It's my friend.
It's my friend. But it's almost like some people brag that they don't use anesthetic.
I think that you hate your clients. If you're not using numbing, that's mean.
That's mean.
That's mean.
Yeah. I know. You might get some hate mail for that.
That's fine. I don't care. I think it's mean. I don't get any numbing on my body tattoos. I'm heavily tattooed, and I don't mind that. But on the face, you better be numbing my fucking face.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a reason. Look, I was a body tattooer. I worked in a body tattoo shop for a long time, and the mindset on anesthetics and numbing in the body tattoo industry is very, very different. And my mentor gave me two reasons why. Eddie over at the Skin Factory, why
they don't earn it.
Well, that's the number one reason. It's a badge of honor.
Yeah.
And you need to earn it. It's something about, you need to take it. You need to take the pain. You need to go through it. And you need to earn my work. It's the badge of honor. That is the mentality in the body tattoo industry. And I think it still is it? I think with a lot of...
I think nowadays
they're changing a little bit. Right.
More artists are starting to use numbing, but I think it's just, culture now that, they don't want things to hurt.
Yeah. Well, and there is some truth to, that the more comfortable your client is, the more still they are and the better we work.
Yeah.
So there is truth to that. And, rib cage tattoos, that shit hurts, man.
Get over it.
It hurts. There's certain areas of the body that hurt. I remember when I was...
Get over it.
I remember I was doing like a whole string of butterflies down this girl's rib cage once, and I mean, the heavy breathing up and down. I mean, I'm trying to tattoo a canvas that's moving up and down. And then the panting, the owing, the oohing. It was one of the worst tattoos I ever had to get myself through. It was really hard. And so from then on in, I just got out my little bottle of Pro Plus and I numbed just about every body tattoo client after that. And my clients liked it. I'm like, hey, yeah. So I don't know. I broke the code, I guess, back in the day and started numbing all my body tattoo clients. I didn't use a secondary, I didn't use an epi, but I did use an initial, like a pre-numb, just to get them through the line work.
That just takes the edge off.
Yeah. Took the edge off, get them through the line work. And then once I started doing the fill, it's kind of like they got a little used to it and they calmed down a little bit. But so that was the number one reason. And then Eddie's second reason was they just, they didn't want to spend the extra money, Yeah, I mean, Eddie made his own needles and keeping costs down. I'm not buying that shit, that was just kind of Eddie. But like I said, that was like 20 something years ago. That's more old school, philosophy. And like you said, I think, the body tattoo industry is evolving like our industry is evolving. And you do see more artists, reaching for, numbings to keep their clients comfortable. And
well, I saw on, I don't think it was on TikTok or Instagram, whatever, that Post Malone went to have dentist work done. So they put him out and then had 2 tattoo artists tattoo his whole like stomach and chest or whatever while he was out. And I was like, you know what?
That's the way to do it.
Now that's bullshit.
That's the way to do it. Okay.
No.
That's the way to do it.
You have to earn that shit. That's the
way to do it. I got a story about that. I got a story. So this will be my closing story. So I got a client, great client from Ghana. And her brother is a doctor here in town.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I do her eyebrows and she's a wussy, 0 pain tolerance. I always tease her. And she's like a fit 6. So, usually my darker skin clients are a little bit better.
They have amazing skin. They
yeah.
sit like
wonderful champs. To tattoo, right? Wonderful to tattoo. And their pain tolerance seems to be a little bit better than someone like a Fitz 1, but not her. And I'm not going to say her name because she's got a lot of family here in town and that are doctors. I don't know if she wants this story out, but if she's listening, she'll know who she is. But she's been with me probably 15 years. And she wanted her eyeliner done. And I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm doing your eye. I mean,
it's never going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, you're a bad patient with your eyebrows. But eyeliner, you can't move. I can't, because, I could mess up. I don't want to mess up your eyeliner. So she's like, I'm going to bring my brother. And he's going to give me a little shot and put me to sleep. And I thought, oh, geez, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know about that. It really made me nervous.
Sign a liability waiver.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I'm like, that would make me nervous.
Yeah, it made me really nervous. But her brother's a doctor,
yeah.
And her brother came with her. And this is probably 15 years ago. So a little bit of a newbie. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I would have done that today. But I did feel fairly safe because her brother's a doctor. Her entire family own a big practice here.
Was he checking her vitals while you were doing it?
Well, so he brings his little doctor bag, right? And he's like, I'm just going to give her a little light just to make her take a nap for an hour. I'm like, okay. She signed all her paperwork and everything like that and had a little addendum, and he signed it as a doctor and all this stuff. So I felt super safe. But a little nervous. Never tattooed anybody taking a nap with an eyeliner,
I haven't.
But no, right. So anyway, but then she says, you're still going to put numbing cream on me, right, Teryn? I'm like, yes, of course. So pre-numbed her. He comes over, gives her a little shot in the arm, and we're talking and she dozes off.
Yeah.
I let the anesthetic sit 20 minutes. Start wiping it off and cleanse her, and all of a sudden she pops up, she opens her eyes. I feel that And I'm like, oh my God. So I started laughing. I'm like, well, if you feel that, you're sure as hell going to feel my needle.
Right.
And so he comes over and he gives her a little bit more. She falls asleep, right? And
Could give her a drink.
yeah, he's like, yeah, just give it, like 5 minutes. We wait a little bit longer. And I get my paper towel, I dip in pigment, I go to stretch her, and I go to do it. And her eyes wide open, face alert. And she's like, I feel that. And he gives her a little bit more. So he must be giving her just these tiniest little amounts. And gives her a little bit more. Give her another 5 minutes. I go to start, her eyes pops open again. I feel that. And he comes over and he goes, you need to put your coat on and go home. I've given you enough to bring down, to make an elephant fall asleep. He goes, so this is not happening. And keep in mind, they're from Ghana. Yeah. So that's probably why the analogy of an elephant. She actually does some safaris over there.
You should be
I know you should be out, but it was hysterical. She's been with, we didn't do her eyeliner.
I'm like, did you ever get it done?
Didn't do her eyeliner. Didn't never happen.
She obviously needs Post Malone's doctor.
She needs Post Malone's doctor. And she's been back several times for her eyebrows. And she still lives 6 months in Ghana, 6 months here. And she's a fantastic lady. And we still laugh about that. It'll be something her and I will laugh our asses off for as long as I see her. It's hysterical. Yeah. I know. And I tease the crap out of her. But anyway, so you've been doing PMU long enough, especially if you started back in the day. You've got some stories.
Yeah.
I know.
I've got some fun stories.
You didn't start back in the day, and you've got some fun stories.
I've tattooed murderers.
I know. Me too. We'll have to talk about our murderers that we've tattooed. I remember watching 48 Hours, and my client showed up. She murdered somebody. I was like, oh my God, that's my eyebrows. That's my eyebrows. Yeah, that's my eyebrows. Holy moly. And I get online, I get my laptop, and I look her up, and there she is. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I really could not believe. There's my eyebrows are on the face of a murderer.
I'm glad you still like my work.
Yeah, right. I know. I'm so glad you still like my work. I know. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Yeah. We're going to have you on like once a month.
Yeah.
So we can
I
talk
guess you
shop.
guys like me or something. I don't know.
They do like you. Yeah.
She misses me, apparently.
Yeah. But go check out your post. What's today? Because this will air in a month.
Yeah.
So today is February 5th. Mm-hmm. So go check out Michon's Instagram. Tell them your Instagram handle.
It's Miss Emerald Ink, and MS, and then Emerald, and then Ink with a K.
Yeah. The February 5th post, you'll see the eyeliner that we're talking about, and you wrote a great little narrative about the eyeliner, and you're getting great feedback, and people are really enjoying seeing it. And I think people are craving raw pictures of real raw work on clients without all the photoshopping, and they're just craving it. They're craving it, Michon. So
I don't edit any of my photos.
You're
welcome.
We don't at Girlz Inc. We don't at Girlz Inc. edit nothing.
Some of them look edited, but I swear on my life,
sometimes ring light.
None of them are edited.
No, but sometimes the ring light makes it look a little bit edited. You'll get that little glare a little bit from a ring light. But bravo to you for being brave enough to post it. I know you were a little nervous. Yeah. And when you post raw, real work like that, it does open you up sometimes for some negative comments, because there are some people out there with the mentality, you should go back to training because, you got bruising or you got bleeding.
Negative, positive, I'm still being talked about.
Yeah.
Come at me.
All right. So thank you guys for joining us today. And I want to remind you, you can audio stream us on Spotify, Buzzsprout, Podcast Addict, and iTunes. If you are too busy to sit down and actually watch this episode and all our episodes on our YouTube channel, Tatter-a-fact. And please go follow our channel, Tatter-a-fact. Like this episode, like all our episodes. Your likes and follows mean a lot to us, and we appreciate them very, very much. So let me leave you with this. Setting boundaries setting boundaries for yourself is an act of self-love. And that's all I'm going to say. Stay in the vigilant pursuit of happiness, everybody. And we'll see you next time. Have a good one.